Well, hello everybody, and thanks for tuning in again. Oh boy, I'm out for another day of photography. Right now I'm going back to a place that I got a chance to photograph. I believe it was sometime last year, maybe over the summer. It's right on the James River here in Virginia. All right, my first composition is going to be a bridge that I shot. It's a suspension bridge, and when I photographed this last year, it was a completely blue sky, no clouds whatsoever, and the photograph was a decent photo, I thought, but clouds give it another dimension altogether, and that's what I'm hoping. Actually, not hoping, because we've got clouds today. It's a partly cloudy day, so I will wait for the right opportunity, and I will be back shortly once I get there. Well, I've arrived at my first composition. I've switched things up just a little bit from my initial thought. Now, right behind me, there's a bridge here that I've shot once or twice before, but I decided to shoot this again from a different perspective. And oh boy, if you look right here, we have a lot of rocks here in the foreground. And what grabbed me is the fact that, okay, we've got some rocks here that are forming a leading line directly into the scene, and you can see the bridge in the background. Now, I wish I could have had a better view of the trees, but there are two smaller trees right in front of it. But I really don't think that's going to be a big problem. As you can see, we have some nice clouds, and this is exactly what I was hoping for. And I think this might lend itself to a pretty good black and white image. I really enjoy doing black and white, but obviously all images or settings don't necessarily lend themselves well to black and white. But this is a perfect location for it, and that's what I'm going to do today. Now, I have the composition all set up, and I will show you exactly what that is. And here we are. I don't know how well you can see this, but as you can see here, we have the sky with nice clouds here, which is what I was looking for in the first place. And adjust my histogram, and everything looks good. Everything looks good from the left to the right. The highlights aren't blown out, and the blacks aren't crushed here. All right, now I'm very happy that we have some clouds today. So this is looking good here. Now I have a polarizing filter on the camera to actually bring out the sky a bit more, to accentuate them. Now here's the first shot. I've got a 1/20th of a second at f-stop 15 because I would like plenty of depth of field. And here is the very first shot. Okay. Now, the next shot, as I normally would do, I will decrease the exposure a bit to give this, and I will blend the darker exposure in with the correctly exposed image in Photoshop later. And what this is going to do is it's going to give a very nice dramatic effect to the image. Now I'm down to 1/30th of a second at f-stop 16. And here's the second shot. All right. And just for insurance, I will take one more shot and bring the exposure down just a little bit more with that. So now I'm down at a 1/40th of a second at f-stop 16. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the images I've taken today are going to be destined for black and white images. and because I think the settings out here are perfectly suited for it. So that's the agenda for today. Right, now that's shot number one, and I think I've got some pretty good exposures on this particular shot. Right, now I'm going to move over to my next location, and everything is basically in the same area. There is a bridge directly behind the camera, and I'm going to see if I can get a decent shot on that. It's something that, as I said, that I shot last year, but it was a completely blue sky, no clouds, so it kind of lacked dimension, even though it was a halfway decent shot. All right, so I will be back when I get to the next location. All right, I've arrived at my next composition, and this is the bridge that I was referring to at the very beginning as I was coming up here. And actually, I'm on the shadow end of the bridge. I had wanted to shoot it from the other side, but there are some things going on the other side over there. So, and it would have been pretty chaotic to try and photograph it. So I came over on the other side, but I still have the nice clouds here, which is what I was looking for. And I'm going to take the first shot, basically exposed for the bridge itself, and I'll probably take several shots just to so I have something, a couple to choose from. And then of course I'm going to treat the sky the way that I had all along, and bring down the exposure to give it a more dramatic look. And that should be pretty much it for that. So let's head over to the camera and let's get the shot underway. And here we are on the back of the camera, and you can clearly see the composition that I have set up here. And let's see, let's check the histogram. And the histogram is pretty much getting pushed to the limit here. But that will actually be my first shot. So 1/25th of a second at f13. Actually, I'm going to go down to f16 for the all-important depth of field on this. And I will go there. Now we still have a little bit of detail under the bridge, which is great. If you look here, the blacks aren't completely crushed, so that's not going to be a problem. And here's shot number one. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to overexpose it just a little bit to get maybe a little bit more detail under the bridge. And I'll go about right there and take one more shot. All right, and now I will underexpose for the sky. So that's exposed correctly, and as I said earlier, to give it that nice dramatic look. And that's good right there. Now at 1/25th of a second, f16. All right, and I will take one more of the sky and just lighten it slightly. I'd like to give myself several exposures to choose from. And here's the next one. Okay. And that's done. That's 2 shots in the bag. Okay, that's 2 down, and right, the sun is getting pretty close to the horizon now, so I'm going to see if I can come up with one more shot. Let's get moving. All right, I've made it over to my next composition. Now, I'm beginning to lose the light. The sun is getting pretty low to the horizon, and the shadows are creeping up a bit more here. So I want to go ahead and get this shot in quickly, and that'll be 3 shots in the bag, and I will call it a day after that. All right, let's get to it. I have everything set up now. Let's see if I got my settings ready here. All right, the histogram is, that's pretty good right there. And I'm still using the polarizing filter. And if you look, we have a nice, some nice foreground boulders here, and there are a couple of partial logs lying across the scene. And of course, we still have some nice cloud formations in the upper portion of the frame. So the histogram looks pretty good. So this is going to be my first shot. This is going to be 1/6 of a second at f-stop 16. And here we are. All right, that's one down. And of course, as with the previous two shots, I will underexpose slightly. All right, to give us a nice dramatic sky and exaggerate that. Now I'm down at 1/13 of a second at f16. And that's done. All right, that looks nice. And of course, later on in Photoshop, I will use the one that's properly exposed for the highlights, essentially. And then I will actually blend in the sky with that. And that will give me a nice dramatic effect to the entire image. Well, this turned out to be a pretty interesting day of, as well as an extremely enjoyable day of landscape photography. I always love to get out, and very seldom do I get a chance to actually get to some locations that will yield actually, some of the better images. But today was one of those days, and I'm glad that I did get out. All right, I'm going to go back and process these images, and I will be sharing them with you shortly. And hopefully I have something good to give you. All right, so I'm going to call it a day. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to comment, like, and please subscribe. Until next time.